company is Synergy HD. I do a lot in the rooming house space, but as we get to the end of this, I want to talk about some new opportunities that have come my way, some new companies that have wanted to work with me. This is how we do it. All right, so I do a lot of buy and convert, which means I buy an older home that has 3-4 bedrooms, hopefully more than that, and then I convert it into much more. So this was just a regular rental place, and you see rent for $340 a week. Then we changed it into 5 bedrooms, and now it rents for $1,500 a week. Substantial increase, and it keeps you from that negative gearing, which is what we're all looking for these days. So these are a couple of the recent projects that we've worked on. These what you see here is the normal rent base for these properties. So literally, the properties were rented for $600, $700, $800 a week, not more than that. This is the gross revenue, was $109 a year, and it was renting out for, what was it, $2,300 a week. And these are just some of the projects we worked on. This is the other one. This was a personal project that, actually my first project with the company. And we took a 4-bedroom home to an 8-bedroom home, which makes a huge difference when you're trying to rent out room by room. It was rented for $500. We got it up to, what was it, $1,800 a week. So the investors were, of course, very happy with that. This is the process that we use. I come in this area here, and then the company I work with does all the project design, the project management, setup, and including the property management if you want them to. If the investor chooses to go with us for the whole lot, then we can do the property management, which basically means once the house is remodeled into the extra bedrooms, we have renters in there within 30 days, which is kind of what you want to do.
Absolutely.
So the faster you get it rented, the less downtime you have, the less holding costs you have for the property. These are people that worked with the company before I even came along, but it's, I have some new clients, testimonials that just haven't gotten up on my website or anything yet. Of course, the website's not developed, but that's beside the point. It should be up in a minute. So this is what I do now. Okay, so these are all the things we do. The rooming house, of course, buy and convert, build new. Build new is finding a property. We do all modular builds. The nice thing about a build new property is that it can be, once the property is settled, so we have the land to work on, we're up and running in about 6 to 8 months. Literally, we can get it rented, up and running, built, and up and running in 6 to 8 months because it's all a modular build. Now, there are still some councils in Victoria that are wary of modular builds, but we work with them to get them through and understand what we do. And our houses don't look like a modular build that you would think of. Literally, they look like a little townhouse or a little regular house that's on the street. Now, the biggest difference between, I should talk about, a lot of people don't understand what a rooming house is. So when I talk about buy and convert, moving it into a rooming house, everybody knows what a everybody knows what a shared house is, right?
Yeah.
So you have everybody on a lease, they're each in their own little room, but they all pay into one lease. In a rooming house or a co-living space, either way you want to look at it, each individual room has their own lease. So if everybody on this side of the table had a room in the rooming house, we'd have our own individual lease. Not paying in anything else, you're just paying your own lease. And that's one of the reasons that we can up the rent a little bit, but it's also, it kind of helps. And the really nice thing about these rooming houses now is it's the creation of a community. So everybody that's in these rooms kind of works together, knows each other. In fact, over the years, we started to see them, they organize Friday drinks together, they have, weekend barbecues together. So you're creating this little community that they're all staying in. The other thing people think about when they're talking about rooming houses is that it's in and out, or it's just students, stuff like that, and people are doing this on a short-term basis. It's not true. At least with us, most of our clients are the professionals. So flight attendants, doctors, nurses, things along those lines, because we do a lot near hospitals and public transport. So you get the higher end clients in there because they're moving around a lot or they're traveling a lot. So even business people that travel quite often, they can create one nice little home base where they can come back on a Friday, have drinks with the community, and they just have a place to settle rather than owning or doing anything on their own. So it kind of works out, and it's a growing industry right now with the rooming houses. A lot more people are getting into it. A lot more investors are looking at it for one, for the profitability, but for two, kind of helps with the housing crisis we're in as well. Now, the other thing, this is still developing the property syndicates and development operations. I work with 3 different law companies at the moment that develops the syndicate law side of it. So all the things, I can't think of the name of what it would be, but the contract that goes together for the syndicate. And I'm putting the operation stuff together for the help manage the syndicates themselves. Which, I'll be honest, I found that a lot of the syndicates that I've talked to and a lot of the people, they're just kind of winging it together. So it's all everybody together, but I want to create a little bit more structure around it. I think it's kind of needed now. The last thing that I have now, I've just been contacted by a company out of New South Wales that's doing super fund investments. So they've been doing super fund investments for a long time. They're kind of expanding now into Victoria. And we're looking for some buyer's agents in the area. And once they realized I do co-living and rooming house, they were like jumping out of their skin to get a hold of me. So it was kind of funny. But a super fund investment, you want it to be profitable. And one of the reasons they're moving into the rooming house and co-living space is because 99.9% of owning a rooming house is a profitable investment. So you're seeing profit from day one. You have a renter in there. So I can now offer my clients, and I've got a couple of clients looking at this now. It's a 1 contract super fund, so they can buy the property through their super fund and then have a profitable investment as well as a capital gains investment inside their super fund. I do one thing I do warn clients about. It's difficult to sell it out of the super fund, but you can do that, especially at the end when the super fund's getting paid out, all that kind of stuff. But they do all kinds of different things, anything from new builds, property investments, and NDIS housing. NDIS housing, if anybody's getting into that, just be wary of where you're going. The NDIS housing in Victoria is very good. NDIS housing up in Queensland, not so good. And it's just this simple rule. The fact is because NDIS housing can be, the NDIS participants can get into the home, but if their new one's built, a couple streets later, they can get up and leave and go to the next one, and you lose the rent. So you have to make sure you keep the rentals in there. It's a great profit model, but you just need to make sure you have the right tenants, you keep them satisfied and keep them happy in your place, which is the same with co-living, but co-living is a little bit better. It's a little bit easier, I say, to keep them happy. And that's my contact either. These are the 2 partner companies I work with. And yeah, that's it. Any questions?